ahead and close your eyes and take in a deep breath, breathing in and breathing out, simply paying attention to the breath. It doesn't matter if you speed up or slow down your breath, if your breath stays the same. Just pay attention to the breath, the way the air feels when you breathe it in, and the way the air feels as it enters your lungs, and exhale. Now, our faces have over 200 little micro muscles in them. Those muscles often hold the tension of the day, the muscles in the brow and the eyelids, and you can actually pay attention to that and let those muscles relax. When you do that, of course, you feel the eyelids getting a little bit heavier. You may have even heard a hypnotist say before, your eyelids are getting heavy. And the reason why is because when you relax those muscles, they just become heavy. And unclench the jaw, unclench those teeth. Let your jaw muscles relax and let that sense of relaxation spread through the shoulders and neck. As it spreads through the shoulders and neck, notice if there's any tension in your shoulders and just let those muscles relax. Let your shoulders drop a bit as relaxation extends into the arms, the forearms, the wrists, the hands, even the little tiny muscles of the fingers. And you're doing great, simply focusing on physical relaxation. If your mind wanders or you think, don't worry. After all, that's what minds do. They wander and they think. In a moment, we'll get to the mind. But as you let those fingers relax, they become heavy like the eyelids. And the muscles in the back and the belly, they can relax as well. And as you relax in the chair, with each breath, allow yourself to become physically more relaxed. Letting the muscles in the thighs and calves and shins relax. And even the muscles of the feet and ankles and the little tiny muscles of your toes. Now focus on your hands for a minute and think of the word heavy. And as you focus on your hands as they relax, notice they feel heavy. And think of the word warmth, a warmth like that which might come from the sun, or a warmth like that which might come from even inside of the body. And say to yourself, my hands are warm, letting those hands feel a sense of warmth. Even saying to yourself, my hands feel warm and heavy. My hands feel warm and heavy. And let those hands become heavy and warm. In fact, so heavy that if you try to lift your hand, you'll find it becomes heavier and heavier, stuck, locked down tighter on the armrest of that chair. And as you breathe in and breathe out, each breath double that sensation of relaxation in your body. Now, as easy as we can relax the body, we can also relax the mind. One way to do this is to imagine you're outside underneath a clear blue sky on a perfect day. Imagining that your attention is captivated by a single white puffy cloud floating lazily and leisurely through the sky. And as it moves off towards the horizon, becoming smaller and smaller, just follow it with your mind, noticing how easy it is for your mind to pay attention to that cloud that you've created. Eventually there'll come a point where that cloud simply disappears off into the horizon, and it'll be at that point that both mind and body are completely relaxed. And as you breathe in and breathe out, enjoy this sense of relaxation, this sense of the body being relaxed but the mind being focused. Really, this is what hypnosis is about. Being able to control our bodies and be able to direct our attention and our thoughts. I'm going to count backwards now from 10 to 1. With each number, simply double that sensation of relaxation in both mind and body. 10, 9, 8. With each number, relaxing a little bit further. Never asleep, but deeply relaxed. 7, 6, 5. Doing perfect. Learning a new process, one that will help you excel in your academic performance. 5, 4, 3. Each breath, each number, becoming more and more relaxed. All the way down now. 3, 2, 1, 0. Never asleep, but deeply relaxed, enjoying a state of calm, a state of tranquility, but a state where your mind is able to direct and focus its attention even to something as simple as the breath. Breathing in, breathing out, noting that sensation, that feeling of the breath, or to the feeling of the leather below your fingertips, or even to the weight of your shoes resting on the end of that recliner. The ability to focus our attention is an amazing attribute of the mind. And you said one of the issues that you've wrestled with was focus and concentration when feeling stressed by the clock or by a difficult subject. But I'm glad that you've come here today, because there are solutions within you, and solutions that I can teach you, so that when you leave this office, when you step over the threshold of the door, you'll be stepping into a new chapter of life where those old feelings have been replaced by new experiences. And over the next few moments, you may hear me reading from my notes or even from a story. The reason why is, of course, simple. I want to make sure that I cover everything that's important to you today. Many people ask me, how can hypnosis be useful for academic performance or test taking? Of course, hypnosis has been used in 3 ways to help students be successful. It's often used to create a sense of accomplishment and empowerment, allowing a student to fully step into their higher self and utilize the potential within. And Alex, you have that capacity. It's also been used to teach specific skills for managing anxiety that might come from taking a test or performing under time pressure. And I'm going to teach you those skills during the next few moments. And hypnosis is also a great skill to learn, to block distraction, allowing a clear pathway to previously learned materials, so that you can answer every question without hesitation and with confidence. And you've done great. Being motivated to come here, to find solutions to some difficulties. Often people, though, when they first experience hypnosis, they mistake it for the same thing as sleep. Notice, though, that you're not asleep. Simply relaxed in body and focused and of clear mind. In fact, in this state, you could easily choose to let the mind wander and drift into daydream, or you could just as easily focus on a mental thought or feeling or even a visualization. During our session, utilize that choice to stay focused and your attention exploring the ideas and following the processes that I described. You are, of course, an excellent student, Alex. You have been for a long time. But none of us would ever reach our absolute highest potential without first experiencing the challenge of a new situation. Each one of us has been able to raise the bar of performance a bit higher with each previous achievement. For example, a high bar jumper doesn't start at the height of a previous world record holder to begin his practice, but rather starts jumping at low distances or low heights, increasing the bar by millimeters in each successive performance, eventually beating the previous record holder. You said you were good at history, so maybe you learned this, but the current record holder for high jumping is a man from Cuba named Javier Sotomayor. His record is a little over 8 feet, 8.046 feet. That's about 2.5 meters. But even he has broken his own record on multiple occasions, first setting the record in 1988, then besting it again in 1989, and then again in 1993. With each record broken, for a period of time, that record was the world's greatest. But the ability to outperform oneself can come, sometimes quickly. It only took him 1 year to break the record the first time, and sometimes a bit more slowly. The next record took about 4 years to break. But within you lies a great potential, and much of that has already been realized at the high school level. You've easily excelled in both English and history. And although science and math is an area where you found greater resistance, that resistance has not, to this point, impeded your overall performance. Take a moment to recognize that. Your grades show an A in every subject. You perform as well in all of these subjects that you feel greater resistance in. Those are actually feelings. That feeling of resistance, not facts. To remove the resistance, we simply need to break the relational frame. For example, Alex, if you were conducting a science experiment on resistance and had an aerodynamic race car that had mounted to the front of it a large square piece of plywood, it simply wouldn't go very fast. Even though it's a race car, that large square piece of plywood mounted to the front bumper would slow it down. The answer, of course, to speeding up the car is to remove the extra weight and the non-aerodynamic plywood, letting the natural curves of the race car easily slice through the air, reducing its drag coefficient and helping the car to maximize its potential. Now, wouldn't a large piece of plywood mounted to the bumper of a car be a useless thing? Plywood really isn't something that is part of a car and would seem to have been absurdly mounted to the front of a race car. Which makes me wonder, what have you mounted to your academic performance? Have you mounted a piece of plywood made from anxiety or fear or stress? The evidence is they really aren't part of your test scores, but have been arbitrarily put there and really serve no purpose. Just like a pit crew could remove a large piece of plywood mounted to a race car, I bet you have the resources to go into an exam without tension, without stress, or without anxiety. Your toolbox of success certainly contains the equipment necessary for you to sit through an exam without an extra piece of plywood mounted to you. And as you continue to relax your body, but with your mind focused, return your attention to the breath, noting with mindful intention this moment, right here in this office. Note the way the breath feels as you inhale, and even the temperature of the air. And this moment, of course, as long as you're breathing, is exactly as it is. And you can be mindfully aware of that. To avoid fusion with a piece of plywood, or anxiety or fear, you can use a simple strategy to practice in any exam. When you note that you have a feeling, like anxiety or worry or fear, just note it. Say to yourself, that was an anxious thought, or that was a worrisome feeling. But instead of attaching it to your bumper, just let it pass as you return your attention to your breath. Taking no action on those feelings, just letting them exist, but staying in the moment by returning to your breath and just letting those things stay where they are. By practicing mindfulness each day, this pattern of response will become automatic. And of course, you will discover that intuitively and easily you can master each moment, achieving your highest level of performance on every exam. Well, there are some things, Alex, that you've learned during this time that you can take with you. When I began guiding you through this process, you might recall the process of relaxing the muscles of the body. Although it's a simple strategy, it's a very useful strategy for managing the physical distress of anxiety and fear. Before any exam, you can actually take a few minutes and just note any tension in the body. We often carry stress in our muscles, and if we note it and release it, just like you dropped your shoulders and relaxed the jaw a few moments ago, it will not become bigger. You won't feel a sense of agitation, or as you called it, jitteriness before an exam. In fact, try that now. To practice, simply scan your body, note any tension, simply label it as tension, and let those muscles go. You can drop your shoulders, unclench the jaw, note your brow, the muscles in your hands and fingers. And if you note any tension, just let those areas of the body where you're holding that tension relax. Focusing on your hands and feet, letting them be relaxed and heavy. This process is one that you can actually practice at any time before an exam and even during an exam to take away the jitteriness and replace it with calm. Because you came here today and have taken the time to learn new things, it's clear your performance on exams will increase, and that you'll find recall of previous learned material easy. Have you noticed during this time how your body's been relaxed, but yet you've paid attention to the processes in your mind and that your thoughts have been focused? The state that you've created is an optimal state for clarity of mind, and of course, you know it leads to easy retrieval of important information without distraction. And you even now know a new skill for dealing with distraction, simply returning your attention to your breath and letting a thought or a feeling be a thought or a feeling without being carried away with your thoughts by them. And so you can say to yourself, even right here, right now in the office, I am an excellent student. Say that to yourself, either out loud or in your own mind. I am an excellent student. I am an excellent student. You can even say to yourself, either out loud or in your own mind, I find it easy and natural to become focused. I find it easy and natural to become focused. Find it easy and natural to become focused. And say to yourself, I am calm when I breathe. I am calm when I breathe. I am calm when I breathe. And you can congratulate yourself for the work that you've done by learning a new skill, the skill of hypnosis, to help you retrieve information, stay focused, and manage both the physical and mental aspects of anxiety or fear. And over the next couple of days, you're going to notice something, Alex. The color red, it'll be brighter, sharper, crisper, clear. Whenever you see the color red, it could be a stoplight, a taillight, a cup, a tie, anything. That color red will simply stand out. It'll bring a smile to your face and a recognition to you that you've embarked on a new journey of life where you outshine your previous records, 1 millimeter at a time. In fact, when our session is over, I'm going to show you my red iced tea cup. When you see that red cup, it'll bring a smile to your face, even a bit of a chuckle. In fact, if you try not to laugh, you'll find it actually makes you laugh a little bit harder. It'll be a reminder to you that something has changed and that power within you to excel in every area is something awesome. And now think about a clock hanging on the wall. A black minute hand, a black hour hand, and a red second hand. The clock on the wall always moves clockwise, and it's given you a message. Time is running out. But that message is based on a faulty premise that time is relevant to you. As an excellent student, you always beat the clock. You've beaten the clock in virtually every exam you've ever taken. So the clock really holds no meaning. You're always given enough time. And so replace the old message with a new message, and that is, when you glance at the clock during an exam, it's time to be mindful in this second. The old message, time is running out, no longer being the message you see. Instead, retrieving that new message, it's time to be mindful of the second and pay attention to your breath at that moment when you glance at the clock, the feeling of the pencil in your hand and the answers in your mind, even saying to yourself, in this moment I have the resources for success. In this moment I have the resources for success. You'll find that a clock is no longer a cue for anxiety, but it's been replaced with a message and a cue of mindful attention to the moment, as if in each and every exam, time stands still. And you've done fantastic. I'm going to give you an MP3 when we're done, and find time over the next 2 or 3 weeks to listen to that MP3 each and every day. And as you do, practice the principles contained therein, reinforcing all of the learning of this session. But you can give yourself a virtual pat on the back. You can congratulate yourself for having honed your mental capacity and skills to help you achieve a peak level of performance. Finding that all of the suggestions I've given you, which are actually suggestions that you've asked me to make by coming here today, are easily attainable. Beginning today, tomorrow, next week, and next year. That color red being brighter, sharper, crisper, clearer, bringing a smile to your face and a recognition that there's been a wonderful change in your outlook, your attitude, and your experience. And of course, Alex, it is time to reorient to the room. And so before you open your eyes, pay attention to your hands resting on the side of the chair. Pay attention to the feeling of your feet and the shoes on your feet, and to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Noting that breath brings a breath of oxygen to every cell of the body. In a moment, opening the eyes, feeling rejuvenated from this short learning experience. Feeling fantastic with each number, becoming more alert, more oriented, feeling fantastic. 1, taking in another breath. 2, stretching out any muscles that need to be stretched, getting ready to open the eyes. And 3, opening the eyes, feeling fantastic. Feels pretty good, huh? Yeah. They say that 15 minutes of hypnosis feels like 8 hours of sleep. Now, about how long did that feel to you? How long did that session feel?
Pretty short.
A couple of minutes?
Yeah.
That's called time distortion in hypnosis. You can go ahead and take the headphones off. The interesting thing about that is people tell me they felt 2 or 3 minutes, or 4 or 5 minutes, and really it was 23 minutes. So I think that was probably about 23 minutes. That means you're really able to get involved in the process and really let go, so that's great. By the way, have I ever shown you my red iced tea cup? You always laugh when people show you a red iced tea cup?
Not often.
Yeah, okay. And by the way, I gave you that suggestion, you probably remember it, that you would laugh when you saw the red iced tea cup. The reason why is real simple. That's called, what we call in hypnosis, a proof. It's one of those things that just lets you know that you're responsive to the process. And the suggestions I gave you today are all things that you're going to easily be able to act on. And so that's great. Do you remember some of the suggestions I gave you?
Yeah.
Okay. What were some of them?
When I see the clock, be mindful of the moment instead of worrying about how fast the time is gone.
Sure. And I gave you that suggestion because one of the things you said was that clock is a cue for you to be anxious. And now we've replaced that old message with a new message. Pretty cool. So there's a clock over there. And what does the clock tell you to do?
Just chill.
Yeah, exactly. Be mindful of the moment. Just chill. Perfect. Well, I'm really glad that you came here today, and I'm sure these things will be helpful to you. They've been helpful to many others, and so thank you for taking the time to do something for yourself.
Thank you.